Well, hello again. It's the OhioRAAM show coming to you from Southwest Ohio. And today, just a few days before Halloween, I'm in a graveyard. Well, not just any graveyard. This is Woodland Cemetery. And I'm standing here in front of the Wright Family Memorial with Wilbur here at my feet, his sister Catherine, Orville over there on the right. Those of you who know me know that I am a great admirer of the Wright brothers and what they did, and I'm so happy to be here today. This is the OhioRAAM show, a show about cycling and ultracycling, and what's the Wright brothers got to do with? Because these two guys here were bicycle racers who thought they knew how to build a better bicycle, and it just so happened on the way they decided that they would try to invent powered flight, which they did, and for which the world is grateful. Today's show, we have Chuck Smith on of the Ohio Bicycle Federation. Most of you who see this show do not live in Ohio, but I think what he has to say and what the Federation is doing has a lot of applications not only throughout the United States but throughout the world, so enjoy this show. Well, hello again. It's the OhioRAAM show coming to you from Southwest Ohio. This time we're in remote here at the home of Chuck Smith, who's chair of the Ohio Bicycle Federation. But OhioRAAM show is a show about cycling, ultracycling, and of course it's about the race across America because we're sponsored by the first two time stations in the race across America in Ohio, which is time stations 41 in Oxford, Ohio, and time station 42 in Blanchester, Ohio. And my name is Lee Kreider. I host the show. We're now in our 4th year of doing the show, and we're happy to have Chuck Smith with us. Hi, Chuck. How are you today?
My pleasure. Just fine. How about yourself?
Good. Chuck, tell us a little about yourself before we get into the Ohio Bicycle Federation.
Okay. Well, I've always been interested in cycling, and I joined the Dayton Cycling Club back in 1989, and I enjoyed it so much that I got involved in commuting. And so we started organizing the bike commuters in the Dayton Cycling Club and started logging thousands of miles in bike commuting. And then one of our members moved to Cincinnati. Cincinnati Cycle Club got involved, and now we have a little rivalry going actually for a trophy as the top commuting club in southwestern Ohio. Cincinnati versus Dayton. So that's a lot of fun.
Okay.
We really enjoy that.
Well, we'll talk a little about commuting in a little bit here, but
okay.
You chair the Ohio Bicycle Federation. Tell us what it is and what its mission is.
Yes, the Ohio Bicycle Federation is the organization representing Ohio cyclists at the state level. And our mission is to improve cycling however we can. And the latest impetus to improve cycling is actually House Bill 154. And as you see here, this involves safer passing. With passage of House Bill 154, Ohio's motorists would be required to leave at least 3 feet of clearance in passing cyclists. The second part of the bill would permit any Ohio vehicle to proceed through an intersection after stopping and yielding right-of-way, even when not detected by that device which is supposed to move the signal from red to green. And that will help a lot of us cyclists. I used to commute to my job at Wright Pat from here in Vandalia, leaving at 5 in the morning. So I would be at a stoplight which would not detect me, and I would have to go over and press the pedestrian button. If there was no pedestrian button there, I would have little choice but to proceed illegally because you'd have to wait a long time at 5 in the morning for a car to come by and push that light. So the second part of House Bill 154 will take care of that situation. Senate Bill 192 is identical to House Bill 154. We just introduced it at the end of June. The thinking here is to work on both bills at the same time, and that way get them through in a speedy manner so that we can get this into law during this current session of the Ohio legislature. So we're asking folks to contact their state reps and senators to support our bill. The easiest way to do this is to go to our website, ohiobike.org, and there you can very easily get off an email to your state rep. You just enter your zip code and you'll be connected with your state rep. Get off that email, and if enough of you do that, we'll pass our bill, and we appreciate that.
Okay, and so you've been working on this for a little while.
Yes.
Other states have it. You know how many states have this?
26.
26 states have this already, and it seems to be a growing trend. Now, for those of you who are watching the show on the show website, OhioRAAM we will have the link right below there that you can click on. If you're watching it on YouTube or one of the other sites that embed the show, and we always thank people that embed the show for us as a playlist on their site, if they do that, then you'll have to go to OhioRAAMshow.com, but the link will be there, or just type in OhioBike.org. That's pretty easy to remember, and get there for that. So we've all been there at that stoplight, Chuck. Back in the days when we had these iron monsters, we didn't have to worry; it would trigger them. But
that's right.
Now that we've got carbon fiber and aluminum and stuff like that.
And most of these are actually magnetic, and these detectors are magnetic, and they will not detect carbon fiber. And so we have a challenge there, and our bill will answer that challenge.
I see that some states are doing that. I saw some place where they're trying to get laws that the bicycle can treat a stop sign as a yield.
Yeah, right. There's one state that has that, the state of Idaho, and we actually don't care for that concept. We cyclists want to follow the same rules as a motorist, and so we really don't care for the Idaho stop concept.
You know, we deal a lot with the antagonism we all run into with motorists, but we've caused a little bit of that problem ourselves. Have we not?
Well, some of us, yeah, right. And we always must keep in mind that we must follow the same rules as the motorists. We are a vehicle in the state of Ohio, and so we should behave as one. And when we behave as a vehicle, we follow the same rules, and then the motorists can depend upon us to actually be predictable out there, and that's very important. And when we are predictable, we'll do much better out there, actually. And actually, cycling is very safe. When you compare cycling and traffic to other modes of activity, it is extremely safe. In fact, one of our board members did a study and found that cycling is actually the only thing that he found that was less or more safe than cycling was sitting in an easy chair at home, and there's always a chance that you'll fall out of the easy chair. So.
and you can get hit by a meteor too.
That's right.
Well, as I told you before, about a third of our audience comes from outside the United States, and probably another third comes from outside of Ohio. But these are issues that are international. I mean, we here at the OhioRAAM show, we follow the news every day internationally, and I see the same kind of issues you're raising here coming up in Ireland and England and France, Australia. So as cycling seems to be increasing, especially commuting.
Yes.
I mean, I see more commuters on the road all the time. This could be gets to be more of an issue.
Right. That's right. And you mentioned the commuting, and one thing that has made it a lot easier is the movement toward bike stations, where you can actually just insert a charge card, rent a bike, as you can now do in Dayton, actually since this last spring. You can do it in Columbus, you can do it in Cincinnati, and that makes getting around so much easier, and now you don't even need a bike. All you need is a credit card. You can rent a bike and do that.
There was a news story here in Dayton that the people who installed that were surprised at how much use it got right off the bat.
That's right. That's right. And that's Bike Miami Valley. I'm a part of that organization, I'm proud to say, and it has been very successful.
I know we were talking about going down to something at Riverscape, which is a big facility here in Dayton where they have festivals and what have you, and parking is always a problem. And I said, I'll just drop, I told my wife, who has a little bit of limitation walking, I said, we'll drop you off close by. I'll go out here somewhere and find a bike and ride up.
That's right.
And I don't have a monthly or yearly subscription. It cost me probably a little more to do that, but that was quite handy, you know. I could say I park maybe a mile away, free parking, ride up, worked out fine.
Good.
So the 3-foot thing, you say 26 states have it now. I assume other states are working on that?
Yes, there are 3 states that are looking at it now, and bills are in the legislature, and in Texas and Louisiana and one other state. Yeah, it's a coming thing, and we're definitely expecting it to come into law in Ohio during this session of the Ohio legislature.
Now, are there other organizations similar to yours in other states that you know about?
Right. There are advocacy organizations in almost every state in the union at the state level, and they're working hard too on similar bills.
Very good. Now, I know that from talking to you in the past, the Ohio Bicycle Federation has been involved in some other things, one of which was the whole rumble strip issue.
That's right. And it's still an issue, actually. Actually, this rumble strip concept was something that was actually promoted by the Federal Highway Administration. They were encouraging the departments of transportation across the country to put in these rumble strips, and Ohio decided to put theirs actually on the berm, which we don't like, actually. If we're going to put in rumble strips, I would rather put them in the center of the roadway, where you prevent these horrible head-on collisions, rather than warning people who are, say, wandering off the right side of the road, people who shouldn't be driving a motor vehicle in the first place because they're either asleep or possibly intoxicated and wandering across the side of the road. Those strips really impact our riding, and they also impact other people like the Amish buggy drivers. So we're, in fact, we've been trying to get together with the Amish to work on this.
I know, going across North Dakota, they had rumble strips there, and the rumble strip didn't quite fill up the breakdown lane. So that was kind of nice, except they would put one here and the next one over there, and then one would be cockeyed, so you had to weave around.
Yeah.
But isn't the real issue, Chuck, that to get highway designers to think about cycling?
That's right.
When they're designing
That's
intersections,
right.
highways, and what have you.
Yeah, I'm doing my part in that because my son Casey, who rode with me across the country for years, is now a highway designer in the state of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. So it's good to have highway designers with cycling background, definitely.
I think all of us have been through over roads or through intersections or what have you, and we've said, this could have been done better. You know,
that's right.
I think, Chuck, the most bicycle-friendly city I've ever been in was Portland, Oregon. It just seemed like their whole concept of bike lanes, where to turn, they thought through how a cyclist was going to get through these intersections.
I visited Portland also, and yeah, they've certainly done a lot. We see them every year at the League of American Bicyclists Summit in D.C. talking about their latest innovations.
Okay, we're back here again with Chuck Smith talking more about the Ohio Bicycle Federation, things they do. I was interested, you had a program on lighting you're working on. Tell me a little about that.
Right, we worked on this program. We and the Ohio Bicycle Federation worked with Queen City Bike, and there was a Cincinnati cyclist who was hit by a motorist and killed after dark, and so we are providing free bike lights to cyclists who perhaps can't afford them. We feel that's very important that all cyclists have access to lights.
Now, I've noticed, Chuck, more and more cyclists riding in the daytime using lights. You know, the new LEDs that are quite intense. There's one chap in our neighborhood that has an LED on the front of his bike that flashes. They really catch people's attention to have that. I don't know how common that's become, but it seems like it has been showing up. And I know on the Race Across America now, a rear light is required day and night.
Okay.
Of course, we always required whatever the state law was about lighting at night, but now they're requiring that we have a light on there at night to try to, make you a little more aware of that.
Right. And by the way, in Ohio, lights are required at night. That's in the law.
Now, in the interim here, I found out that you're now retired and you're not commuting anymore. How far did you commute when you were?
Well, first of all, the word retired is a bit of an exaggeration when used in regard to me, because I've been just as busy as I've ever been. I've just been able to focus on my love, which is cycling. And so I've been active, of course, with the Ohio Bicycle Federation, as we mentioned. I'm vice president of the Dayton Cycling Club. I'm also a USA Cycling official. I'm active in training with Team Dayton, so I'm extremely active in cycling, more so than I've ever been. The one thing that I missed, though, from my job at the base, though, was my bike commute. And I logged 50,000 miles over a period of 22 years riding from here in Vandalia to my job at the base.
And that's about how long of a commute for you?
And it was roughly 40 miles round trip.
40 miles round trip. And I know you kind of set your commuter bike up uniquely with you didn't use clipless pedals.
No, that's right. Because you stop so often in commuting that the clipless pedals become a bit of a pain after a while, just clipping in and out. So yeah, you develop a commuter bike which is unique to the purpose.
Well, I've known you off and on for quite a little while, Chuck. I remember we worked together up at Troy when the Race Across America time station was at Troy, Ohio, before they moved it south. And that was quite a nice group of people that used to come up there. And
yes, it was. We miss that.
Matt Bond, who was a Race Across America veteran, was the organizer of that. And we were just talking before we started recording the show that Chuck worked as a crew person for Matt when he set a couple of Cross Ohio.
That's right, and I'll never forget that. We started at the Cincinnati Zoo at 5 in the morning, actually. And the reason for that was so that we could get the flashing yellow lights as we were going out US 42, headed northeast up actually toward Toledo. And we did make it to Toledo. Matt paused in Toledo to wash his hair to get all of the sweat out. And then we headed south, and I'll never forget passing through all of these small Ohio towns, Matt racing his bike, and here was Calvin Coughlin and myself in Calvin's van with a huge speaker atop the van playing Matt's favorite classical music, and we got some really strange looks from people. Quite an experience. Never forget.
And his record stood for a long time. It was just broken a few weeks ago.
I see.
Interestingly, it was broken by a person who's 61. So Matt still holds the under 50 record. Okay. Even though the over 60 record is shorter than his. Okay. And of course, this will happen. The show will show until after this happens. But over Labor Day weekend, I'm going to be going up to record some video with Larry Graham, who is the current operator of Calvin's Challenge, and Pascal Lecrangy from Powell, Ohio. They're going to try to set the east to west team record. I see. Hopefully beat the 12-hour record in that. So that'll be kind of fun. But the Ultra Marathon Cycling Association has all these cross-state records, and now they've started something new, Chuck. I don't know if you heard about that. They have capital to capital records, which means that almost anybody, regardless of what kind of cyclist you are, can hold a record. Well, we're quite near the airport, and we had to take a little break there to let Southwest Air or somebody go over, and kind of broke a train of my thought there a little bit. We were talking about the Ultra Marathon Cycling Association and those records. I said almost anybody can now hold a record. All you have to do is pick out two capitals. And I think that's quite a nice thing. We were talking a little bit about the kids and on bikes, and my able assistant here, who also is a Chuck Stiver, was mentioning in the break that you talked about consistency and the need for training our younger kids how to handle a bicycle in traffic or in the various situations. That's right. Yeah, here in Vandalia, children actually as young as 3rd grade are permitted to ride their bikes to school. And so we need to train them to let them know how they should behave on the road, that they should not be riding on the left-hand side. We need to get them to follow the rules of the road, just as the motorists, whenever they go off on the roadway to ride. The other thing that's happening, and I see it happening here in our area, I see stories of it all around the world indeed, of the development of the cycling lanes. Sometimes they seem to be developed well, other times they seem to be put in almost as an afterthought. Have you had any experience with working on that?
Right, yeah. While the lanes do encourage riding, we really need to be very careful and thoughtful in designing them. For instance, we should not have bicycle lanes along parked cars because of the danger of dooring. That's one problem. Another problem is what is called the right hook, and this is where you have a cyclist following the bike lane perhaps all the way through, and you have a motorist turning right. The motorist isn't going to look behind him to see the cyclist, and we can often have collisions. So we really need to be very, very thoughtful in developing these changes to the roadways.
Well, I thank you for taking time to be with us today, Chuck.
My pleasure.
What's on your mind that you'd like to share with us that we haven't covered?
The big thing, well, of course, the big thing that we have covered is House Bill 154 and Senate Bill 192. I just want to really emphasize the importance of contacting your state rep and senator as soon as possible about those two bills. That is the thrust of our activity right now.
Okay, very good. And we thank you for being with us. Now, if people here in Ohio would like to become members of the Ohio Bicycle Federation, I assume that website we gave you is going to...
OhioBike.org.
And it's possible, as I understand it, for either an individual or a club to be a part of the organization.
Yes.
So if you'd like to be an advocate for the things that Chuck and his organization is working on, that's a great way to do it. And the wind just blew Chuck's notes all over the place here. You never know what's going to happen, Chuck.
That's right.
That's the beauty of it all. And we thank you for being here, and we thank all of you for watching this. This is OhioRAAM Show. You can see all about the show, all the archives at OhioRAAMshow.com. Also, there's places there that if you'd like to subscribe, you can put your email address in there, and you'll get notifications about when shows are being released. But there's some links there and other things. And all the shows for the last 3 years are there in their archive. And we want to thank all of you for watching today. And good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are in the world. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And you'll notice that some admirer has left a little whirligig here. It's this little toy that came from France that gave Orville the idea of powered flight and that it might be possible. It all came from this one little toy. And tomorrow, my able assistant Chuck Stiver is going to undergo very critical surgery. Please offer him your prayers and cares as he undergoes this operation. I'll be there with him, and I can only hope that the next time you see me at a race, you'll see Chuck once again where he belongs, behind the camera.
Music by Kevin MacLeod.